everybody to Backstage Fishing. I'm John Woodruff, and here with me today again is Brian Carter.
What's up, what's up, what's up, everyone?
We are going to roll over some bass fishing winners and, good golly, a bunch of news. But here at Backstage Fishing, one thing I'd like to say, start this off with a laugh, is we don't lie because we don't wear spandex or have empty live wells because we putting y'all on the fish. That's what I like to hear.
There you go.
So we're going to jump right in. Elite news, because we got a lot to talk about. So
yes, we do. Holy cow.
Yeah, Wes Logan, Nealon Henry, first win for him, hometown hero. Awesome. Like, we win at your home lake with your friends and your family there. That's an emotional roller coaster.
It's kind of a rare thing these days, to be honest.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's one of them things, the media always blows it up. Oh, this is your home lake. You grew up 30 minutes from here. And, listening to, I've watched a bunch of videos over the last weekend, sometimes it really ain't even their home lake. I mean, it's close. I mean, they fished a few tournaments there, but, they fished somewhere else. But, guys, he won by 1 pound, 6 ounces.
Yes, and it is extremely tough to win at your home lake. When you travel as much as they do, you don't really see your home water as much as you used to. So, going into that tournament, having the mindset that you have to can your history, because if you get caught up in your history, you're not focusing on your pattern that it's at hand and what the fish are telling you to do. You're like, oh, I remember I caught one over here, I caught one over here. Well, that may not be what the fish are actually doing. So
it's very true.
It is, a heck of an accomplishment for Logan to do that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have BP with him, Brandon Polinick, and all his buddies.
Of course. Big hugs. It was great.
Yes.
So the next one, they just wrapped up was Gunnersville. Caleb Kuplo.
Yeah, this is his second win on the Elite Series.
Is it? Good.
Yes, it is his second win. I actually looked it up because I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah, he's still rocking an old boat with an old motor and just killing it.
And crushed it.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just a win, guys. He led all 4 days of this thing. I mean, it was...
Yeah, so he picked up on something different that not a lot of anglers saw. So as I watched it on Sunday, and they talked about it a little bit, was it's the little things that makes the difference when you're fishing. So for him to go into that isolated mat and flip into it, and boom, it sinks right down. He picks it up 2 or 3 times, boom, he's on to the next one. Where you saw other anglers, they would go up to the mat, flip in there, and kind of yo-yo it like they would at like Florida if the water was a little colder. Not him. He was in it. He was getting it done. He was covering water, and the bites were coming to me. And what they seemed to see was when the initial flip in is when that bait would go down and the fish would go down and react to it, and that's when he would get bit.
Yeah,
it's that is the details that it takes to be at that level. That little piece of intricate information is what he used to capitalize on his win. So the next one, the James River Open. Everybody knows BP Brandon Polinick won.
That's his very first Open win.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I mean, he, it's pretty cool. Second year back, coming from another series, guys, back on the Bassmaster Elite Tour and going to the Bassmaster Classic.
Yeah. So
in 2022.
How he won, it's a local known spot. It's in the back of the Chick, of course. It's at the dam. But the significant thing about, yet again, here we go, a little intricate piece of information he figured out was the tide coming out and the way it positioned the fish, and the tide coming in and how it positioned the fish. And he was actually focusing on a current line that it was creating in there, where I don't know if anybody else did, but he was able to, when the tide was coming back in, it would position the fish in a certain direction that he would throw his, mega bass swim bait or whatever, trick worm, drop shot, whatever in there that he was using, and capitalize on that.
But if we look back at that, that was almost the same pattern the Dollar Bill Lowen won his. Was was with the water being in those certain patterns and coming through the levees and all the other stuff, and he was concentrating on those locations when he won the river event.
You mean at Pickwick?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Was it?
I think it was.
Well, I mean, I know the water was high, but I mean that's Pickwick. Focusing on current is a big key.
Right.
Back swirl, stuff like that.
Yep.
Another young angler, I want to mention him. I hadn't got to talk to him yet, but he did text me. We are going to get up. Nick Budsford, I think that's his name. Bodsford. I'm going to find out more from him, get his story, but dude, local guy, almost won an Open. almost won an opening.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Said he had to go out there, just, this is just what I read off, Bassmaster, but went out there, scratched everything every day, and started over.
Nick Bosworth in it is what it is.
Yeah, so congratulations to him. English Choice, they did a 2-day at Smith Mountain.
Yes, they did.
Mills and Mills the first day,
Yes.
and oh goodness, who's his next one? Nichols in a
Mark Wynn.
win again?
Huh?
Mark Wynn and Nichols the
Mike
second
Nichols?
one. Right?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes, they won a second one.
Then the John Cruz tournament went on before that, and that was Waggy and Gerald's
I think so.
something.
I believe so. We'd have
Probably
to almost research that again.
names. I'm terrible with them. Just got them wrote down. And the Basscast winners, no surprise.
Oh yeah, that was Mark winning him again. That won that event right. Well, it was Nichols and Mark Wynn,
And then most recently,
Towels.
surprise, ladies
Travis,
and gentlemen,
Travis
the fish
and Danny Tao.
have moved deep, I think. Usually they come out to play when it's
They
deep.
do. But in the video, they catching on 10 feet of water.
That's fine.
So they're still, but they did say that they figured that the spawn has pretty much been over. The fish were moving out, and these warm water temperatures that we've had the last like couple weeks, really, and it still really hadn't been that warm here until this weekend.
Hasn't. The spring has lingered for a while.
It has. But the water temperatures have been getting up into the mid 60s. But this past weekend really just kicked it up a notch. The 75-degree nights.
Oh yeah, really
gonna
helped.
bring that on.
Really helped it. So the going back to the English Choice, the 2-day thing, that talking to the guys at weigh-in and some of the people around town and work, there was a massive shad spawn going on, and the only, I think, from what I heard, a handful of people found the mythical unicorn spots that was going on. So it wasn't really massive like all over the lake, but when you found them, you were cracking them. The first one on Saturday, a friend of mine said, yes, it was actually 3 of us that finished in the top 15 were in that same area, and he noticed that all of them had caught fish. One guy actually finished second. So, needless to say, he's like, there were some big fish on this stretch.
Oh yeah.
And that's pretty commendable. The second day, he didn't do as well, but we also had the cloud cover.
Yes.
So I guess there
And the rain.
And the rain. There wasn't really a big push for those fish to, have that morning sun come up and say, hey guys, it's about to end, so y'all need to eat and be done.
Right.
So it just kind of lingered throughout the day, and they never really got aggressive on the shad spawn bite. This weekend, they had the Cat Trail Classic
Yeah, the championship
at
occurred.
Bugs. So that consisted of, is it Shefford? Hang on. I know who finished second. Trent and his.
Yeah, we all know who finished in second place. I mean,
congratulations.
And to be honest, they weren't too far out of winning the whole daggone thing.
Oh, I know, yeah.
only-
Tyler Trent's a stick down there. I mean, it's Bugs Island. It's his backyard. When he shows up, be ready to catch him. And
Yeah, it was Billy Shelton
They're the shelter.
and Michael Gardner. And I've interviewed them before, so, I mean, it was 16 pounds each day, roughly.
Hey, that's good.
And, it's a little secret, guys. One of them didn't even fish day one. One fished by himself day one and got 16 pounds. Then they both fished together day 2 and won this bad boy.
That's interesting.
Yes.
I heard it was tough. My prediction, honestly, was, after internet fishing and stuff, I seen some guys out there getting ready for a BFL, and I was like, oh, well, they're kind of fishing offshore in the brush. Okay, well, the fish are hidden there, so that this derby will probably be one on the brush. And it very well could have. I don't know yet. Hadn't talked to anybody, but I did hear there was a pretty good amount of bluegill spawns going on, and that, some people targeted that.
That was the key.
Okay, good. I know Pops and Brian, congratulations to them. They won the Region 2 Federation at
Yes, they
Okanichi
did.
on Sunday with 16 pounds.
Yes.
That came on a top water and drop shot. So
It's getting that time of the year.
no, Pops has gotten tight-lipped on me, I guess, because he knows I got this podcast now.
Uh-oh.
He's like, yeah, we caught him on top water and drop shot. Oh, okay. What else did you do?
It's like, what else, Pops?
Well, we threw a crankbait, but we caught 2 catfish, a channel cat and a flathead.
It's getting warm and it's that time of the year. And it's crazy that, I've been out fishing with a buddy of mine, and it's this time of the year we are guaranteed to catch a catfish, at least one.
Really?
And even on a crankbait, I don't understand. They love crankbaits.
Oh yeah, they love crankbait.
They love crankbaits. But
I mean, if you're in the James and throw a DT6, you bound to get your arm ripped off and run some catfish.
Oh yeah, definitely true. So, but it was a good weekend. I mean, the Basscast is on the road again, like you said. Covering our own tournament series. We're wrapped up until September. We don't play during the heat. I'm not a fan. I mean, a lot of the guys around here go night fishing, so we're going to have to sneak in and get a little tidbits of what's happening at night.
No, well, I can pretty much tell you what's going to go on tonight.
Oh, yeah. So we got that, and then, like I said, the Cat Championship 2 days, and I think they took home $10,000 to first place, and it was $14,000 after all the bonuses Cat has went to second. So... yeah, Tyler Trent kind of slipped up and got in the side pots and won more than the winner. Yep, that's how it goes.
It pays to play.
It's kind of crazy, a little story about that. A lot of the guys wanted Brett and him to go up on their entry fees. And Brett said, no, I'm not going to do it. But here's what I'll do for you guys. If you guys really want to throw your money away.
Yeah.
He said, let's start some side pots.
Yeah.
And, they've got a gold, silver, and bronze. And you just, whatever you want to do. And they pay out, I think he said they paid out 3 spots for each one of the gold, silver, and bronze. So, I mean... that cat trail can be a significant payout. If you win the Derby and you're in the side pot and you're running the right boat, you get your contingency money, you have a potential to take home like $25,000, $26,000. Yeah, last year's winner, guys, if you didn't really know, forgot already, it was almost $25,000, right at $25,000 last year after all the contingencies, the side pot, you name it. It was a whole lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, 12.5 a piece, you and your partner split. Good God, what a season.
You got that right.
Yeah, I could take Mama out to dinner. Maybe pay a few bills.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can afford to go fishing again.
That is all true. That is all true. So yes, I mean it was a good weekend. I mean, it is getting hot, and I'm glad it's more traveling for me coming up for the Basscast. We got an Angler's Choice next month. Probably got a Federation tournament somewhere in all that mist. So that's a bunch happening.
Yeah, I know the Region 2's got a makeup coming.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hot. It's on the James. But, I mean, the river fish, honestly, they're used to the hot weather. That's where you usually go. If you would like to go fish a tournament, river fish usually stay shallow.
Yes.
That's why they go to the river. Usually river fish, because of saltwater content. So saltwater weighs heavier than freshwater.
Yep.
So when you get saltwater coming in, it goes deeper. The freshwater stays shallower. That's primarily why you have river fish and like the James and the chicken stuff like that shallower than you do anywhere else. Now, the further you go upriver towards Richmond, yes, you will get deeper fish into that 16, 20-foot zone. But the further south you go, you get to mixing and matching with the water column. So you primarily would fish a little bit shallower down there because of saltwater.
I mean, I love the river. I mean, we're blessed right here in Central Virginia. We've got a couple different rivers. I mean, that you can go fish. And I was talking to someone earlier, about 30 minutes ago, it's like, now's the time when, you float the river, fish, and it gets hot, jump in.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, it's... when it gets past 80 degrees, I'm done. I'm baked. So, I mean, I guess it's just getting old, John. That's all it is.
I love it.
I love it, too.
Want some more of it. Can't get enough of it.
All right, let's roll on with this.
I know. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the shad spawn. I know I touched on it. So when you're riding down the lake, all right, and you're going to look for shad spawn, the easiest way to signal what is going on is when you see the herons lined up on your shore. So as I'm riding down the lake, I'm going to look over here, and let's say I see one. Not very predominant, but if I go up to the next little bank or whatever I'm looking at, point, and I see like 4 or 5 of them on there, that is a great place to start your shad spawn investigation. And like I said, usually in the morning is when it happens for the first maybe hour and a half, so you really got to be dialed into where they are and can you go hit them and get them and be done, because it like I said, it's like a unicorn. You see it, now you don't. It's gone.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people want that boat number 1 going out in the mornings. I mean, I got a couple that prepay. I ain't mentioned their names, but they prepay to be boat number 1 all year. That way they get out there to get to that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're well known and like to practice and like being out on the water. So
yeah, don't blame them one bit. So I did bring my nice handy dandy box full of tackle warehouse. Thank you. Most likely where all this came from. But
go for it.
So shad spawn number one. You can't beat the old hidden spook. Okay, this is actually a rattling spook, and you can see I have actually thrown the actual good awful god awful snot out of this, and yes, it produces. It's a good one. And the next one, this is one that not a lot of people probably throw, but it's a evergreen shallow blows 105. It's got a little feather on the back. It's actually like a mini pencil popper. This one is pretty good. Gets a lot of good side to side action. A little spit action with the head on it. So that's a nice one I like to throw. Then you can't ever go wrong with a swimming jig. This is trailered with a what is this? A missile bait swim. I forget what the heck he calls his. Do you remember?
No, I probably got a crap load of them.
You do. I
right
see
here
him in the
beside
floor
me.
over there.
It's a box over there full of them. But
anyway, like I said on an earlier podcast, you see the line. I've got it flipped upside down, so this does not raise up in the water column. Right. It stays smooth and true. And
that's my favorite right there. That's my favorite right there.
You can't go wrong with the old natural color.
Yes, there's a whole box of them over here behind us.
That thing right there will get to going. Loop knots are good, or you see I took mine off because I usually tie a loop knot on mine. But the actual split ring on them works just fine too. So those baits right there are primarily what I would throw. I mean, you could throw a spinnerbait too, but everybody got common knowledge on that.
Yes.
Those are primarily what I would throw when I'm searching and looking for the shad spawn, because that's pretty much what's going to produce them. Also, the shad spawn deal, they're going to be up on the rocks and stuff, so you really don't want to position your boat to where you're like throwing right at the bank and then reeling back to you. You want to kind of put that thing on almost paralleling, or kind of maybe a 45. You don't really want to screw your coin up so much, but the closer you get and the closer you can keep that bait to the rock is what dictates the kill zone. So the shad are all swimming up and down and in between the rocks, and then what happens is the fish will come up and pin basically the bait fish up on the rock in the kill zone, and that's when they attack. And that's
my biggest fish will come off that. Thank you, Jesus, for fishing out of a kayak. It's nobody but me, but fishing that direction, my biggest fish will come out of the way.
Yeah, so it keeps your bait in the kill zone longer.
Yep.
Where all the strikes happen. The other one that we know was going on this weekend was the bluegill spawn. So when you have a bluegill spawn, you got these little volcanoes looking things in the back of your pockets, and you see little bluegill sitting in the middle of them. The biggest deal with that is finding the right bluegills spawning bids to function. So, and what I mean by function is not all bluegill bids are created the same. So there's certain ones that big bass hang around. Bass always hang around bluegill bids, but finding the ones that the bass actually hang on is the ones you want to focus on. So, and what I mean by that is, if I go to this one and there's 5 or 6 bluegill bids out there, and I'll run a bait over and like a 2-pounder comes out, I'll remember that location, but I'm going to go try to find somewhere where there's, a 4 or 5 pounder sitting versus just this little 2-pounder. Not to say that a 4-pounder can't be swimming up there in like 2 hours to catch one, but usually those bass are sitting there, they're waiting, they just come off of spawning, they're like, I need an easy meal, I'm going to get payback on these suckers, so this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing, y'all don't mess up because I'm going to eat, and here I come. So when I find that deal, some of the baits I like to throw, of course, is the popper again, but is the spro frog, popping frog. That's always a good one. Here's another one. This is more like a finesse frog, a little brown. I like browns. And the Brian's B2 prop bait.
Oh, yes.
Hey! Everybody knows what a Brian B is, don't they? It's a homemade kind of deal. Maybe, maybe not. You can get them at Tackle Warehouse.
Okay.
I do believe. That one. And for stubborn fish that you see that you can't catch, this little dude right here. It is a Ned rig.
Ned rig, baby.
With, the little crawl on it. More big fish that I see that are stubborn, if you can be stealthy enough to where they don't see you and you're like, I got you, I know what you're doing. You see they're up there focusing on that bluegill bed. For some reason, this thing right here will straight catch them.
It's crazy.
Don't hop it.
Nope.
Drag it. They will come over and just, oh, look at this little snack, or most likely just, I'm kind of interested in what this is. So that works pretty good. The other one on the bluegill bed is...
Ooh.
Hey.
There it is. It's been
I
around
like the
forever.
red crawler. Robo worm. Drop shot style.
Yep.
So I will... I'm going to let this out, but I don't dip my tail actually in.
Okay.
I actually dip a little bit of the head
Okay.
in the actual chartreuse before I put it on, if I feel like it needs a little something.
Heck yeah.
But that is not common knowledge, and I really wouldn't like too many people to know. But yeah, I don't know what it is about it, but a little bit of chartreuse on the head seems to get more bites. Now, I'm not talking you coat that thing about the size of your hook.
Right.
I'm talking just take the head, make a little dab of it like it's a little something different, and it seems to be producing. So, when you have a chartreuse tail, you get all these little bluegill to eat the tail. Well, if it's a bass, I want to know if he's eating my hook or not. So
it's always cool to have something different.
it is. And so,
I mean, when you guys know that this is called a lot of fish up at Smith Mill Lake.
oh, big time.
I mean, a lot of fish up at Smith
Big
Mill
time.
Lake. I mean, they're probably immune to it by now. I mean, they've seen it so many
They're
times.
not immune to it.
They still,
They said it's
they
still
still eat
delicious. And don't go crazy with your line leader either. It doesn't have to be 2 foot long. Anything between 12 inches to 6 inches, whatever your preferred is. It doesn't have. Don't overcomplicate it.
Right.
It's not rocket science, especially when you're working it. You don't have to have that thing jiggle like it up and down on a jackhammer. Oh, I've got to get so much action out of it. No, nope. Texas rig it, just sling it out there.
Yes.
Sometimes they want it nice and smooth. Sometimes they want a little hop in it. But for the most part, don't overcomplicate the drop shot. Throw it because fish like it. It's good. It's good. Good stuff.
Yeah, it is tough, and it's a money maker on Smith Mill Lake, and it's been happening for years this time. So, and that color, we don't really want to say go out and run out and buy them, but
Oh, hang on. I lost one.
maybe one day they'll sponsor us. I don't know.
Ooh, good golly. Well, I done lost my shake. Oh, it's
No, there it
right
is.
in front of me. So, another one. The shaky head. Can't go wrong with this. This has got a screw lock head in it. I prefer, honestly, something like a football head to throw mine on. A lot of people like a round, but the football
The
seems
flat
to...
heads.
Yeah, the flat heads. I just feel like the flat head gets in there and then it rolls over, but the football seems to stay a little bit more buoyant.
Use that David Dudley flat head.
Whatever works. It's got
Yeah,
the
he's
little
got
legs on it, so it stays
The
in.
little legs on it.
Yeah, it makes that thing stick up.
Yep.
This color is Bama Bug. I like Bama Bug for some reason, but that's my fave. People go with green pumpkins, green pumpkin blues, green pumpkin purples, a lot of green pumpkins. Watermelon's a good color.
Watermelon red.
Easy, boy.
Whoa, sorry.
Watermelon red, yes. So why would you go to a watermelon red in certain situations? Usually it's better in the spring because
Yes.
your crawfish, when they come out, especially in river, they eat the plankton, and the plankton is actually what turns their molting, I guess, shell reddish color. They get the little red beads, and then they just turn red. So yeah, it's all due to their dietary habit is why they get a little red in them. So yes, red is good in the spring.
Spring. Yeah, we're gonna break it all down for you guys one day. We really do need to do that. Just have them all lined up and just talk about it one day.
So where are the fish going?
Well, they're not shallow anymore for the most part. I can tell you that. For the most part.
For the most part, maybe yes and no. There will be a pop-R bite for a while,
Yes.
but as we hit into the heat, of course, your shade lines and stuff like that you want to pay attention to. But as we get into the hot heat of summer, majority of your fish are going to be out there in the Atlantic Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying, what do you mean? So,
A Larry Witt.
yeah. Well, I was thinking more, they're going to school up, they're going to be out there, and finding them is, you got to put time in. It's not like you can run out there Derby Day during the hot of summer and say, well, John said if I just go out here and fish deep, I'll catch them. Well, that's not necessarily how it works because, well, for one, you want to find the brush piles, and you got to find the bait around the brush piles.
Yep. Or
you got to find the rock or the lay down or whatever it is that's out there in between, let's say, 12 to probably 25 foot of water. And that takes time to do, to get out there and, use your electronics to find where they actually are and what bait is around and what way is the wind blowing. Is there current? Are they pulling the dam? Or are they not pulling the dam? Are they pumping water back in? So there's all kinds of things that go into this, finding fish in the summer. So everybody knows local schooling places on their home body.
Right.
So those are good starting places because fish are there. So there's activity. And that's what I would look for kind of in a morning deal for the summer is some schooling fish. And as the day got hotter, so let's say at about 9 o'clock, right? So we blasted off at 6, maybe 5:30, 5:45. I would do that for about the first couple hours, and as that sun started baking and heating about 9, 10 o'clock, I would start looking offshore. I'd be looking at the humps. I'd be looking at long points. I'd be looking at short points close to channel swings.
I mean, we hate heat. Do you think they don't hate heat as well? I mean...
I don't mind heat, especially
I hate
fishing.
heat.
You know what? I don't like cold hands fishing.
Yeah, that is pretty bad too, and you got to have hand warmers. But yes, I mean, fish, kind of the same way. I mean,
Exactly. They're gonna find the home that makes them feel the most comfortable.
Right.
Michael Murphy put it to me one time. He said, bass, wherever they feel comfortable is where they're gonna sit. So if a bass feels comfortable with having a foot of water over his head, he will primarily stay shallow his life. But if he doesn't like the temperature of that water, he's going to move off to where he wants to be. Mm-hmm. So, being that now there's also sorts of things like blueback herons in lakes and everything, and some of these fish get a taste of what that blueback does.
Oh, yeah.
It may be the reason why I hardly catch fish on jig anymore, but once they get a taste of that blueback, they just kind of go out there and disappear and go in la-la land for me, but...
Yeah, it's like, where'd they go? They were here a week ago. And it's usually that fast, too. Up here now, it's become that fast. It's like...
Yeah, the blueback heron are constantly on the move.
Yep.
So if you're not on top of your, I guess, blueback heron migration, it's going to be kind of hard to stay on top, but it's summertime. It's hot. Get out there, get deep. Mm-hmm. That's where they live.
Time on the water again.
Exactly.
More time. We're doubling the time you're spending on the water now.
Yeah. So, watching the Gunnersville, if y'all didn't see it, there were actually, Brandon Polinick was actually fishing for a schooling fish out there. I don't know if they're in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if they were, on a brush pile or whatever, but I could see him, G-Man rolls up and is going to throw him a crankbait because Brandon Polinick ain't caught a jack all morning. So he's like, well, this is what they bit, and I caught a limit on it and threw the crankbait over in the boat. And he turned around, and Polinick's looking at the fish on the back of, he's like, oh, well, the fish are following your boat over to me. So he chunks the crankbait out there, winds it on down. Oh, G, you're my daddy. You're my daddy, G. So, I mean, it's that kind of stuff that... It's mind-boggling to me to look at the fish. Oh my God, they come in, throw a crankbait out there, and amongst of all of them, catch one, and then they come back to him a little later, and then he's out there throwing a spoon on them, ripping that thing up and letting it flutter back down, ripping it up, letting it flutter back down. So crankbait, spoon, drop shot, big worm, whatever it takes to get the job done. Sometimes,
and they still sell the big worm. Holy cow! I got one over here. I mean, a big worm.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Which is also something that maybe you should throw on the river when it gets hot too.
Yeah.
The big worm.
Big worm.
Everybody likes the big worm.
Let's talk about the G-Man, Rob.
Big word, big turn.
Yep.
Big perm.
Yep.
Playing with my emotions.
There you go.
So yeah, one thing that we saw too, pretty cool, was G-Man actually is developing a prototype swim jig rod. I want to say he said it's a composite rod, which nobody said you could throw a composite rod with a swim jig.
Oh, wow.
So if you look at the actual swim jig itself, I'll pull it back up here. It does not have a gaff hook in it. It doesn't have something like your regular style flipping hook that you're going to jam home, boat flip them, you know, 8-pounder in the boat, here I come. So this is why he was designing this swim jig rod, was to compensate for the actual lighter wire swim jig. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to crack the fish, you know, with your rod that feels like it's, you know, you got to have a broomstick handle on it.
Right.
So this is more like a finesse style. It's got a lot of give to it. It's got a lot of whip to it, but the hook penetration is good. He did break one, but he's like, this is why I'm out here prototyping these things, so you can see that it does hook up good on my fish. I didn't lose this fish. I did break it, but this is something I get to go back to the company that I'm working with and say, hey, this is what happened. We need to do something a little bit different with the design of it, I think that's good, because you can see them out there using what they want to sell you. So you know it's a good product. When they put it on market, you know it's going to be a good product. I like that.
Definitely true. All right.
Okay.
We're halfway through the season, man.
I know.
You believe that? It's June already, guys. I mean, you know, we're getting ready to prepare for the Bassmaster Classic, which is not too far away.
No.
I mean, it's, you know, it's
June. It's during my wife's birthday, June 11th.
Or something. 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, something like that. So, I mean, we got the Classic coming up. So
it's going to be hot. I did hear that they might do something special out there. They may have the guys weigh fish at the actual boat launch and only bring 2 back to the weigh-in, so they can hold up their 2 biggest bass for the day.
That's cool.
So fish management, definitely kudos to them for that.
That's awesome.
Kudos. So what else are y'all ready for coming up on the Basscast?
Well, the Basscast, we're going to be pumping out some podcasts here over the next few weeks. And pretty much taking this weekend coming up, you guys all know, is a holiday, so we'll be taking the holiday off. And then we're going to get ready to head to our Kerr Lake for the Angler's Choice. 2 days on Kerr. And then that's pretty much, we're getting a slow time right here in Central Virginia, guys, because it is getting warm. And the night tournaments fire up. We got the Friday nighters, and no, we don't have those anymore. We got Saturday in it, or still got Friday. I don't know.
We got Tuesday. We got Old Man Wednesdays. We got the lake never gets a break at Smith Mountain, honestly. And Clayton Lake was the same way when I was in college up there at Radford.
Right.
I mean, there was something going on every night at the lake. Tuesday nighters, Thursday nighter, Friday nighter, Saturday nighter, Sunday nighter. It just get pounded and pounded and pounded.
We preach safety here at the Basscast big freaking time, and please be safe while you're out there on the water at this time of the year. So
yeah, there's a lot of crazies out there. So be sure to wear your life vest. Make sure your blow-up vest actually has a cartridge in it that actually works.
Yes, please.
Always check that.
Check the date. I mean, heck, I don't know. Do they have expiration date on the daggone things? I mean,
they don't, but they have the little gauge in it. You know, if the pill starts to go bad, that you'll start to see the red pop up in it to let you know that it's time to change your little water tablet.
Mine's in the kayak trailer. I don't even have it out here, so mine's taken care of. But
yeah, if they're wet, don't put them in your truck because they will explode.
Yes.
I've actually gone away from a blow up. I usually
have one of those.
If I'm fishing, I feel comfortable and I'm fine. But if I'm riding down the lake, I've actually gone back to the buckle up and zip up.
Yeah, that's what I have. I have one of those. I think mine's a little over $100 some, but I tell people don't go cheap on life jackets, and make sure you are comfortable in it. I mean, especially for me, I'm on the kayak side. I'm sitting in a boat all day long. I mean, I'm wearing this thing for 8 to 9 hours while I'm out on the water. So I wanted something that didn't feel like, I just wanted something that felt like it was a part of my clothing.
Oh, yeah.
Not just, something that I had to wear to be safe, that something I didn't have to think about. Zip it up and go on out there and do what you need to do and come back safely. So that's okay.
Yeah, you don't have the room on a kayak like you do on a bass boat. So that's for sure.
which is, but we do, but on top of that, June, we have another kayak tournament. We'll be on the James River. So for you guys who do enjoy the kayak fishing side of it, we fire back up then. And I think we have one in August, one in September, October. I think we wrap it all up. So
now tell me one thing about the kayak deal. Do y'all go out of one central location?
No.
Or how does that work? Like y'all get to do what and then come back, or?
All right, so the way the kayak series works is you get indicator cards the morning of, which is a Tourney X card. That night he gives out the numbers, and all the weight is done. It's no weight. It's all done by inches, and you have a 20-mile radius of what you can, 20 to 30-mile radius based on the tournament, where you can go away from the main location. So whatever the waypoint is, like if it's Parkway Marina, you can be 30 minutes away. And in 2021, your phone actually does a stamp. People don't think about that, but we can actually look at that and they'll tell us where you were.
Okay, awesome, interesting.
And it does a time and it does all stuff. But the photo is cool because the photo lays flat, lays on the board, and you have to have the indicator card in the photo.
Gotcha.
So that's how, we have had in every freaking fishing tournament someone cheat. Not ours, but in bass fishing, it doesn't matter what it is. Someone's trying to cheat. But we've been blessed here to have no issues whatsoever. A great team of guys that fish it. I mean, our last tournament, I want to say, was like 35 kayaks.
Oh, nice.
40 kayaks, something like that. I mean, we are blessed. We got a great tournament director, Brandon Overstreet, running that for us. So,
what's your prediction for this?
Predictions for what? The Bass Cast?
For the kayak tournament.
For the James River?
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow, how many inches?
I ain't got a clue. I'm just saying, where are they going to catch them? Where are you going out of? Well, where can you go? All right, let's see. If I was going to be in a kayak, I would go to the dam and fish the rapids.
Yeah, that's exactly where I would go. This time of the year, you want a lot of churning water.
Yeah, so can I...
Man, up there, I would not...
Can we go all the way up to Monica Park?
I wouldn't say, like, close. I think you can. But, because that is within that distance, and you're right there at it. I wouldn't doubt if it ain't like 40 inches.
Really?
Maybe more than that. But I don't know how many fish he's going to do for that one. So sometimes, and that's another thing too, different for the kayak series as well. And a lot of tournaments, the night tournaments we've talked to here do a 3 fish limit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I could see, 40. Is it the best 3?
It's usually the best 5. So
you can catch some hammer smallmouth.
Yeah.
Up.
Yeah, I've seen them. I have seen the photos, and I actually witnessed one and got a photo of it about 2 years ago. So, I mean, it was a hammer, right up there at that dam.
So what are the rules for putting in? Could you just
anywhere
take your kayak and park it on the road, jump out and slide down the hill between somebody's house?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
No, I think you got to have a public ramp.
Okay.
You do have to be at a public ramp, and it can't be a private ramp, because that's the whole thing about it. You got to be, someone else has got to be able to go to the same location you're able to go to.
I got you.
So it does have to be a public boat ramp, and it can only be X amount of miles away from where he decides that the landing spot is. But and you guys have a great time. And the cool thing is, it's a lot of, I don't know, it's more, I don't want to take this away from the bass anglers, but, Kayak Kids has its own little groups too, just like the Bass Boys. You see a group here talking, a group there talking. But I think really at the end of the whole entire thing, the kayak anglers do come together a lot more than the bass anglers do. I don't want to say that, but it really is true. For me, just being in it the last couple of years like I have, it's more of a family than bass. Sorry.
What do you mean? I can't grow my ego?
Yes. I'm sorry. I hate to say that, but it really is. It's not this ego thing. Some guys out there just zero, but they had a hell of a good time. And that's, they weren't worried about it. They're out on the water, exercising some with whatever else they put on the back of that thing to move. But yeah.
Get her done.
Get her done.
Whatever it takes.
That's true. But it's the kayak series it's grown. Chad Hoover helped us with that a few years ago, with his big series. FLW got involved because with Chad, I think Bass is involved. But if FLW didn't have a team, after the ownership took over, that disappeared. But you know, it's huge. I mean, it's because you figure for $2,000 to $3,000, you can rig your kayak. You can almost put a trolling motor on the back of it if you really want to do that. And then some lines of rods and all the other crap. You ain't got to have all this. I mean, hey, we had a guy win a tournament. This is no lie. We had a guy win last year off of a Zebco.
Ooh.
A Zebco, boys and girls. A Zebco.
I fished with a guy at Pickwick that actually flipped with a Zebco 33.
Yeah.
Because he said, I can't use bait caster, so I have to use a Zebco 33. And by golly, he was good at it, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He put his little hand up there and whoop, flip it right on up in there. I was like, oh, get him, son.
So, I mean, you don't... I mean, that's the cool thing about it. We're not... Yeah, we're just regular fishermen.
Everybody's a regular
I
fisherman.
don't want to say anything else. I'm going to get myself in trouble. I really am.
Everybody's a regular fisherman.
I know.
Just some are better than
I know.
others.
That is true.
It's all about your knowledge. It's all about your knowledge.
You know, we preached it here. We're 5 shows into this thing, and, you know, we talk about it, your time on the water. And I'll give it kudos to my tournament director, and it's a bunch of other guys. They're on the water, shoot, every weekend almost. And weeks, you know, when they're not working. I mean, they live on it. Yeah,
so I ran into Billy Coles. Got to talk with him real quick. If you don't know him, you'll recognize him because he looks just like Justin Lucas.
Yeah.
It's like a spitting image, and he's really cool, down to earth, likes to fish. If you want to go fishing, give him a call. He loves to go fishing.
Yeah.
Him and his wife do have a little deal going with the B&B, and they do wedding photography, which he's really good at, I hear. So, but if y'all want to get to fishing Smith Mountain Lake, give him a holler. Yeah, I mean, he loves to go fishing, loves to teach. So look him up. I had a really great conversation with him. So definitely hit him up.
There you go.
This thing up. I want to give a shout out to Derek Hudson, who made the championship.
That is freaking awesome.
I tell you what, there's nothing like it. So he fished 3 tournaments this season. He had 3 or 4. He had to finish in the top 25.
Had our local boy. That's awesome.
Exactly, and there's been an enormous amount of participation in these. 225 boats and a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely hands off. Excellent job, Derek Hudson. Glad you're back home. Glad you made the championship, making hometown proud.
Yes, somebody's got to do it. But yeah, that's pretty awesome, though. I mean, you know, it's kind of crazy looking back on this. I've only known him for like a couple years now.
Oh, I've known him for a long time,
and
man.
Yeah, you guys have been knowing him for a long time.
I'm getting old.
But he's a stick.
He is. He puts his time in. He puts his homework in. He's committed. He stays, faithful to it and doesn't veer off of it. It's fishing. It's fishing. It's fishing. If he's not fishing, he's at the fire department.
Yep. And, I pass him all the time. Where are you going? Going to practice.
Got to get it done.
Got to get it done.
Got to find them fish.
That's right.
Well, thank y'all for paying attention to us losers for about 45 minutes. I appreciate it. Thank y'all for listening. Please join
always.
back. Please don't wear spandex or have empty live wells. Please continue to listen, and hopefully we can put you on the fish.
There you go, man. Thanks for listening to Backstage Fishing with
John Woodruff
and Brian Carter.
Thank y'all. Peace.